Philadelphia police say this 16-year-old is responsible for a months-long reign of gun violence which left 4 people dead, including a man who was a victim of mistaken identity. Investigators say Ameen Hurst was the gunman who shot and killed a 20-year-old man on Christmas Eve. In March, they say he was responsible for killing 2 people in a quadruple shooting. And a week after that shooting, investigators say Hurst shot and killed Rodney Hargrove just after Hargrove was released from jail. Police say Hargrove was not the...
What is going on in our communities that we are raising 16-year-old assassins? And this is just not in Philadelphia. This is in plenty of major cities in America. We have young men going around murdering other young black men. One young black man was at the bus stop after getting out of jail. The police drive him over. He's waiting for the bus to take him home. And this man, Amir, pulls up and murders him right on the spot. Where are we going as a community? If you go to Chicago, Memphis, Atlanta, Baltimore, Houston, New Orleans, we see this type of violence going on. And it seems like there is no end to it. You can't even talk to these young people because we have a society to where we have a culture, what I mean a subculture, which makes killing other black men cool. You see all this music out here, this drill music, this hip hop music, where they talk about on their whole album how I'm gonna kill a nigga tonight. And I believe that type of music should be censored. Many of you would say that's against our constitutional rights. But would I repeat, any record company put out a song about killing dogs? Would any music company put out music about killing gay people? Would any music company put out music talking about assaulting women? The only music that is okay for is young black men. Which tells me that in a society today in which the music company is mostly run by white people in small hats, they believe that it's okay to promote violence in the inner cities of America because that's the way they live. This is what they feel about us in the community. And these young men are listening to this trap music, this drill music, from the age of 5, 10 years old. And by the time they get into their teenagers and they join the gang, they believe it's okay to shoot any black men who don't have a certain color or belong to a certain sect. We are raising monsters. And I know some of you gonna say, well, the white community got them. They shooting up stores and they shooting up schools. That's okay. And you're right. But with us right now, it has gotten to epidemic proportions to where you can't even walk outside in some major cities without gunfire starting. You can't go to the park and play with your kids because of gunfire. And you know it's true. This is absolutely outrageous what's going on in our community. You hear none of the politicians in Washington talking about this. It's like they don't want to talk about our real dirty laundry. is that somehow we're going to have to get these teenage boys, some of these girls, some of these young adults under control. We cannot survive as a community that's in chaos. And if you think the so-called white man is going to come into our community and save us, you got another thing coming, because he's the one who created this chaos. I will always go back to the 1960s, in which the civil rights movement was successful, partly unsuccessful. But one thing the civil rights movement showed us, that it was families that participated in the movement, which made it so strong. And remember, like I said, the black community was the most married community in America in the 1950s, even more than white people. And once during the civil rights movement, the intelligence agencies seen how powerful our community was. They said, what do? We have to break up this community. So what did the government give you? I would call the Great Society, the Great Welfare. But they brought in all these programs in the 1960s. And the first thing they said to the black woman, you can have an apartment, you can have food, you can have whatever you want, but you can't have that man in the house. And one thing they have never did to white people in general. See, farmers receive government subsidies, just like the average person, but they never told the farmer to take the man or the woman out the house. They knew their target audience was the black family. And ever since that time, in the 1960s, as you've seen marriage fall apart and you've seen single motherhood come on, you have seen the violence increase substantially in the black community. 85% of the black men in prison did not have a father in the home. And most of them, about that same percentage, didn't have a high school diploma. So what the government did, and many of you would say, well, they were trying. No, they were not. This is what they wanted. They wanted chaos in the black community. This is why you see so many of these criminals, when they get busted and they have such a criminal record, you say, why were they on the street? They're on the street to create chaos in the community. You don't see a bunch of criminals running around in the suburbs. Oh no, they gonna put them in prison, but you see them in the black community. How do we stop this? Can we stop this? Or are we just done? It may take 1 or 2 generations to get this fixed. Now you can set up all the programs you want. Some of these Negroes don't want to be involved in that. So what do? Do we take the harsh road by saying, hey, we got to get rid of some of these brothers and sisters? Now, many of you will say, man, you out of your mind. Man, everybody couldn't go to the promised land, man. Some people who did not want to abide by the rules set down by a community can't always stay. Pookie, Ray Ray, Rashonda, if they don't want to follow the rules of the community, maybe they have to go. There is no way we can rebuild a strong community when we have children, young adults, who refuse to follow the rules, who are basically ungovernable. I want to thank you for listening to Black Site. I hope you subscribe to this channel, smash that like button, but also share this video.